He's alive!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Paul Workman. I am the man of constant hatred. And welcome back to Just Born Movies, the show where we take films straight out of the Hollywood womb and we dissect them for you. My guest this week is Manny Classic.
What's going on, guys?
Manny, what did we see this week?
This week we saw Pacific Rim Uprising. Pacific Rim Uprising is a sequel to the original Pacific Rim and stars John Boyega as a pilot of Jaegers 10 years after the initial war.
Jake, your father always said he wanted you to be a pilot.
He said a lot of things. I'm not a hero like he was.
Okay, Manny, how do we like this film?
You know, quite a few times we've mentioned our incessant love for just kind of big beat-em-ups, the old school Monster of the Week type flicks.
Right.
And I think this is a well-done version of that, a modern retelling. I loved it, yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I think deservedly put it on our look forward to what we wanted to see this year, because so far we're 2 for 2 on that.
Yeah.
This and Annihilation have been really good. This film is just a lot of fun. I feel like I'm going to say that maybe 3 or 4 more times because it really was.
Yeah, it's one of those films that you can go into without having watched the first, and you miss some small amount of backstory, but realistically, it's a film that you can watch of its own accord and get everything that's going on, and doesn't require a lot of thought. It's just a big, dumb, fun movie to watch.
Yeah, you get giant robots, you get giant monsters, you get fighting. This one's a little more plot-heavy than the last one. The story is a little more in-depth. So you get John Boyega, of course, he's the son of Idris Elba's character from the first film. He's not quite living up to the potential that his father, who saved the entire world the first time around, has set for him, and he's kind of relegated himself to stealing parts from Jaeger graveyards to get by and make money. And he's living in the half-destroyed mansion, just kind of living the life he wants to. And I think John Boyega is phenomenal in this film. He's just turned in another great performance after great performance after great performance, and I'm really excited to see where he goes from here.
Yeah, so as the complete kind of opposite side of the coin, you get Scott Eastwood, who plays this hard-edge kind of military kid,
Right.
Who was friends with John Boyega's character till Boyega decided to kind of leave the Pan-Pacific Defense Command,
There you go.
PPDC. So he stayed in the military, and he's pretty hard-edged, but you could tell he's ultimately a good guy. He's trying to train these recruits because he remembers being where they were and things like that. He puts in a really great performance as the complete opposite of Boyega's character, at least initially.
Kaylee Spaney.
Hey, I called her my Starlet of the Year to look out for. Kaylee Spaney is also in this movie, playing the kind of female lead role. She plays a 15-year-old hacker that apparently will be pivotal in this film. I also think she might be Breakout Starlet of the Year.
Kaylee Spaney did a wonderful job in this. She's fun, she's scrappy, she handles herself really well against some more established names. She does a really good job as the kind of a, I don't want to really say rival, but she's another junk thief who gets discovered by John Boyega at the beginning of the film because she steals something that he's trying to steal instead. Then you find out she's building like miniature Jaegers because a tragedy that happened to her when she was younger. So she's this teenager who's got an aptitude for technology. She knows how to pilot these Jaegers, and when the two of them are caught, they're kind of forced back into this training facility where he's instead of going to jail, he's being made to become a trainer, and she's become a trainee. So you get to watch her kind of grow with him in for the sake of trying to save the world again.
Yeah, I really think that her character is... I think her character is John Boyega's character, except for at this point John Boyega is older, so we don't get to see this development occur, but they're pretty much kind of the same person. They're both thought of to kind of be these child prodigies and have kind of, in Boyega's case, flunked out and then decided to come back in, but she's a child prodigy that's starting as a child, and we get to see her develop throughout the movie and things like that. Light spoilers, the movie sets up for a third, so hopefully we get that as well.
Yeah,
I'd get to see all these characters continue to develop.
I'd really like to see that. So the script is fun. It's got a lot of good laughs in it. It's got some good action sequences. It's shot fairly well. I mean, it's pretty standard action fare, so you're mostly just getting a camera pointing at things. But the right things. They do a fine job. None of the action sequences are clunky or edited too fast. You can see everything that's going on, which is always something I appreciate while watching action films. Honestly,
one of my favorite things in the film is the fact they expand on the first film, not necessarily just through the story, but through the way that the Jaegers move in the first film. They're very clunky. You could tell that it's like the beginning of this technology. As part of one of the latter fight scenes, you get a Jaeger that is Blade Athena, and that Jaeger moves pretty fluidly as a human. Like there's some amount of martial arts happening, which clearly wouldn't have happened in the first one because the Jaegers were really clunky and robotic. This one's, even though they're connected to neural networks and stuff like that, this one moves more like a human actually would. So you can obviously see they thought in small details, because it's never like, oh, this is a new type of Jaeger and it's more maneuverable, stuff like that. They just kind of show it off and let it happen.
Yeah, it's also nice that they don't just kind of repeat the conflict of the first film. There's kind of a new conflict. There's reasons for the Jaegers returning that makes a lot of sense. It's not just, hey,
the
kaiju, thank you. There's reason for the kaiju returning that makes sense. That's not just, hey, we need giant monsters to come up from out of the sea, so we're just going to do that again. So it's good. It's a nice evolution. Hopefully, if like I said, we do get a third one, we get kind of an extension and a new reason for conflict, because we're left with some interesting questions as to how it could happen.
So besides the three that we talk about, we do get returning Bern Gorman and Charlie Day,
who are also wonderful.
They played the two scientists in the original, and they're both still scientists at this point, just different paths and stuff like that. Bern Gorman's character still works for the government facilities, while Charlie Day's working for a private contractor. And while I don't think they're as funny as in the first films, their roles are more important as to why they exist in this film.
Yeah, so again, there's reasons for the two of them to be there. They're not just, hey, we need these two characters back, so let's shoehorn them in somehow so that we can have some comic relief. They definitely serve great purposes, and I really appreciated them both in this film. I mean, I always appreciate seeing Charlie Day and Bern Gorman. They're very underutilized most of the time, so it's good to see them make a huge difference in the plot, both of them.
And as a matter of bringing them up, because they were funny in the first film, this film has the right amount of humor. It's got some funny moments, dialogue-wise. It has some funny moments.
Thank you, Newton. I'd hug you if I didn't have a rule about public displays of affection. It's fine. Okay, all right. If you're done groping me, let's take care of the drones, right? All right, good.
Scene-wise or character-wise, outside of the dialogue. So it's not like it's one of those films that just takes itself far too seriously, because the first one is very funny for it being pretty much a monster smash beat 'em up. This movie this movie handles the humor very well, but also has some incredibly serious moments that kind of tug at your heartstrings as you're pulling across these characters that have shown up in both films.
There are some things I think happen a little too quickly. A lot of the tertiary characters are just kind of there. You know, the returning characters all get really good arcs, while some of the trainees you're introduced to and you kind of get to know them, but not well enough. There's a little bit of Deus Ex Machina going on from time to time in this film, which, you know, you're going to get that, but once or twice it feels a little rushed, a little not as well thought out, but sometimes it's easier to forgive just because you're having such a good time.
I believe this is Stephen S. DeKnight's first movie.
Yeah, this is his directorial debut in film.
For those of you who don't know, he did, I know his big thing was Daredevil.
Yeah, he's the showrunner on Daredevil, and he was the showrunner on Spartacus. He's also part of the Joss Whedon camp, so he worked on a lot of those Joss Whedon shows in the late 90s, early 2000s. So yeah, he's definitely been around.
But for being his first featured directorial debut, I really enjoyed the direction that he's going.
Yeah,
it looked crisp and things like that. So
yeah, this is definitely a nice looking film. Definitely, like I said, a lot of fun. Just had a lot of fun watching this.
Mm-hmm. The film looks great, although it still had visual consultation by Guillermo del Toro, who did the first film. So it still looks very much like a Guillermo del Toro film. Mm-hmm. Has some nice big set pieces throughout the world and things like that. The characters that you're supposed to focus on all get really great arcs, and I look forward to seeing them in future films. The music was there, although not, I don't think, a particular shining moment, but it also wasn't the focus of the film. Mm-hmm. So overall, based on our grading scale, I'm going to say it's a damn great movie.
Yeah, a lot of those things. It's a pretty film. It's got a lot of great action sequences, some really good performances from its leads. Some of the tertiary characters do have good performances, even if they don't get a lot of screen time or enough screen time to really make you care about them. There's really a good world building, fine plot, good laughs. Honestly, it's just an all-around good film. So, based on our scale, I'm also going damn great. So what did you think of Pacific Rim Uprising? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave a comment down below and let us know. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to watch the other shows on our channel. Drinking Age Movies, where Manny Classic and myself watch movies from 21 years ago. And Damn Fine Meats, where Manny Classic makes damn fine meats based off those films. And our monthly series, Heavy Drinking, where we look at selected filmographies and film series and go into great detail about them. And as always, have a damn fine day.